Hello, and welcome back to the Ladies Wrestling Grill podcast. We are in February, and of course, this is Black History Month, so the Ladies Wrestling Grill will not disappoint. We will certainly be featuring some iconic women, moments, feuds, factions that feature Black women in wrestling this month, and I couldn't be more excited to do so. So, as I've talked about in the sneak peek of this episode will be a spotlight on one of my favorite wrestlers currently, someone that I have liked for the past, I would say, like 2.5 years. I think that this woman has such an amazing talent for really being a show stealer in any company that she's in. She just has the it factor, and it's really awesome to see, especially over the past few months, how the wrestling world is really taking to her, and how her stardom just is starting to rise in the business, because I felt like she has been an absolute star for the past few years. So now, the wrestling world is coming to that. And the woman that I am speaking about is none other than Queen Aminata. So I just want to dive right into it. Let's talk a little bit about Queen Aminata's background. Queen Aminata hails from Guinea, West Africa, and she started her career around 2017. She decided to come to the US to make her dream come true because, as we know, especially with women's wrestling over the past few years, there has been a lot of talent that has come from other countries to come here because of a lot of women's promotions really starting to gain some steam. And I'm pretty sure that this was not lost on Queen Aminata, as she saw that this was probably the best place to get exposure, get training, and really dive into it. And at 5'9", which is such an impressive look, Queen Aminata completely towers over her competition in each match, and she delivers some deadly strikes that always leaves her opponents out cold. And of course, this is something that Queen Aminata loves, because after she knocks them out cold and hits them with some vicious shots, she makes sure that as she is celebrating her match, that she just, politely kicks them out of the ring and makes sure that she gets rid of the unwanted weight in the ring. So already with that description, you can tell that this woman takes no prisoners in the ring, but she also makes sure that even with her in-ring persona, that she still uses her platform to take her fans along the way of her amazing journey on YouTube by having an amazing channel that highlights all of her workout routines, her meal plans, travel, and of course, shows off some amazing matches. She is a wrestler that really embraces social media and creates a build-up for her fan base so that they can feel like they're really going on the journey with her. And it really helps, especially with being on the indie scene, for fans to be able to keep up with the different promotions that she's on, and kind of see how she navigates through the crazy world of wrestling. And I really recommend that you guys check out her YouTube channel. I recommend that if you're new to the channel, to kind of see her recent tour that she did in Japan, and the bonds that she created with the women from the Sendai Girls promotion in Japan. And I believe that this is a really important milestone in her career. It's truly solidifying Queen Aminata's appeal to fan bases all over the world. And I have to speak to Queen Aminata's regal presence in this very um, um, I would say a 1 in a million type of aura that she has, where not that many women can be that commanding, even with them just walking out of the ring. Actually, not that many wrestlers, period, can have that type of presence when they enter the arena. And I think that I cannot speak enough for how much that impresses me every time that Queen Aminata enters the ring. She has a natural ability to not only have like an infectious, joking personality that I think, a comedic personality that I think that fans really grab, but she can immediately switch and this cruel, vicious, merciless ring style that she usually brings out when she feels that maybe her competitors still feel like they might have a chance at actually beating her. And I love how she can just turn on those different parts of her personality in the ring. It is something that is very unique. And I've been all over for the past few years, and I think that having those different types of switches that she can turn on with her character will definitely lend itself to her becoming a top tier star in the next few years. She was once a GCW Diamonds Division Heavyweight Champion, and it is no doubt in my mind that as she is collecting these accolades, that Queen Aminata will continue to get championship gold. I can personally say that I love the representation that Queen Eminata provides with Black women like me. Having been a wrestling fan for so long, since I was maybe 8 years old, I really always loved when you would see wrestlers that would build from different countries, and they would come in, and it seemed like the American fans especially would immediately gravitate to thinking that, especially if they were European wrestlers, that they were just treated as these sophisticated, elegant imports that everyone should be in awe of. And I like that African wrestlers are now getting that stamp of approval, or that support and notion that they are now leaders of the new group of respected international talent that are highly educated, world traveled, and the best at what they do. And I feel, especially if you check out Queen Aminata's YouTube channel and get a bit more of her background and everything that went into her, not just getting to the wrestling business, but everything that made her the woman that she is now. You see someone that is just so driven, so educated, so sophisticated, that I love how that also mirrors how she is presented in the business, because usually you didn't get to see that, not only with Black wrestlers, but specifically if you were able to see, um, going back a few years, African wrestlers that were not given that type of respect, that type of recognition, or that reverence for the unique cultures that they bring to the wrestling business. And I love that Queen Aminata is one of those newer wrestlers that's commanding that type of respect for her beautiful West African culture. Is something that really makes me smile and makes me proud to be a wrestling fan now. And it's helping to fill that void that sometimes someone as Mark, as I am for the wrestling world, felt like was lacking when it came to representation. When I would watch wrestling, and how many times I really wanted to see that, but I couldn't really sometimes put my finger on it growing up. But as I became a woman, I knew exactly what I felt was missing. And Queen Aminata clearly fills that void. And let's just talk about also Queen Aminata's wardrobe, that usually consists of a gorgeous mud cloth cloak and a decked out crown that is also accentuated by her beautiful braids. And I love the shaved sides because it just complements her face so well. And she just truly does not play any games with her fashion. I always love the gear. I always like the spotlights that she does on the gear that she's wearing on her YouTube channel. I love seeing her come out. I always love the music that Queen Aminata comes to. It's just like a whole package. Everything has been meticulously planned and picked, and to me it is just visually mesmerizing. And obviously, as wrestling fans, the look of a wrestler, what they choose to brand themselves with, is always really important and is always really cool. So I love that Queen Aminata is one of those wrestlers that truly cares about that and truly puts on a full show, including the visuals, which I am a huge fan of. So it's really cool to see that. And because I'm also someone, as you can see, even with my logo for the Ladies Wrestling Griot. I am very much a fan of awesome African aesthetics, African fabrics, African clothing. So it is really cool to see that that is a huge inspiration for Queen Aminata's wardrobe. Um, there's just so much to love about Queen Aminata, and I think that another one of Queen Aminata's attributes is that she also dabbles into intergender matches. She takes on fights with some of the hardest hitting men on the indie circuit, and she holds her own. And she's showing that she is a Jill of all trades. And that is a big deal, especially now where there aren't really these ignorant conversations anymore as much about intergender matches. A lot of fans genuinely come, and if they see it on listed on a card, on a match card, they're perfectly fine with seeing it because they feel that one, this is a match that was put together in a serious manner, and it is going to be handled well by the two competitors that will be showcasing what intergender matches can be. And I think that Queen Aminata is, to me, a great fit in that world where she can obviously compete with the best of them when it comes to women's wrestling, but she can definitely dabble into intergender wrestling. I have been very impressed with the matches that I have seen, so I hope that that's something that she can continue to do because it has certainly impressed me. I think that promoters and fans can always feel assured that when they buy a ticket, when they book her, when Queen Aminata is on the card, that she will be a show stealer. And I mean, with everything that you see, especially with the fan reactions when she's at a show and how engaged they get with the matches. And just like I said, with people being able to, in this generation, to be able to just hold the phone up the entire time that they're watching matches, and sometimes because they're trying to update their social media on what's happening at the time, they can sometimes come off as disengaged from what's actually happening in the ring. I mean, there have been plenty of times when I've gone back to watch matches from like the 90s and 2000s, and you see this high level of engagement because they feel like this is must see TV. I can't look anywhere else. And now, because we can literally have something as distracting as our phones anytime we want, I think that it says a lot that during Queen Aminata's matches, she completely holds the crowd and has them in the palm of her hand. Many times she will taunt them, she will tease them, she will make them feel that maybe someone else that they might be rooting for might have a chance, but then she quickly grabs that from them. So I just love that even in this generation, there are wrestlers like Queen Aminata that really get that that fan interaction, really getting them involved, really toying with them and playing with them is something that's going to make them always want to see her when she's on a card. That will make them especially want to see where she's going to be next because they like that excitement of feeling that I can put my phone down when her match is on, whether they're watching on TV or whether they're live in the crowd, and feel that this is going to take them away, that there's a story being told, that they're being included in it as well. So I just love that Queen Aminata has that down pat, and she always makes sure that it is a full on show, and she really takes the fans away with her work. And I just want to conclude this episode in the spotlight by talking about, I feel, a few career, just a few, because there's so many great moments already in matches that Queen Aminata has had, but just a few career highlights so far. And the first one that I'm going to talk about is Queen Aminata versus Trish Adora for the Pan-African Diaspora Championship. This to me was such a pivotal point in Queen Aminata's career so far because I feel it helped to solidify that she was working her way up the ladder on the indie circuit, and at that point she would be facing some serious competition going forward. And I am a big fan of the Pan African Diaspora Championship. I think that it's going to be, and it will continue to grow to be an important championship that can have the same respect and reverence as the Intercontinental title, where you feel that only the best of the best from anywhere around the world can vie for this title. And I think that for it to be the Pan African Diaspora Championship, for it to specifically highlight the wealth of talent around the world that happen to be or have African lineage, and let them get that spotlight with this title can be a game changer in the business right now. It can help to create partnerships with upcoming companies. It can help to really push wrestlers that are part of the Pan African notion and lifestyle, meaning that they are all here for in the wrestling world, more visibility of diversity within the Black communities and really making sure that there's proper representation. And one of the things that they can truly get behind is having these knockout matches that Trisha Dora has been having as she has held this title for so long with people in the wrestling business that are under the African diaspora. So this title lends so many opportunities for so many great matches. And I think that with this match with Queen Aminata and Trisha Dora, it was another notch in the belt of for anyone that's holding that title, that these are the type of matches that you will see whenever the Pan African Diaspora Championship is being defended. And I think that Queen Aminata completely held her own with someone as talented and another ring general, by the way, like Trisha Dora. They're both very much in control of whatever match they're in. So to see them both have that mindset that they know how good they are and they can really command a match, to see them work so well together, I was really impressed with this match. And it's one of my favorites so far of Queen Aminata. And I'm really excited to see who else would challenge for the title, but I'm hoping that maybe down the line, Queen Aminata can possibly try to get that title again. Another spotlight that I had that I kind of hinted towards for the sneak peek of this episode was Queen Aminata versus Brooke Valentine in Women's Wrestling Army. This was so far, I would say, my favorite match of 2022, hands down. I loved that there was a story to this match beforehand. I loved that you felt the animosity between both Queen Aminata and Brooke Valentine. And specifically from Queen Aminata's point of view, there was almost like this, well, not almost, she was making it very clear that there is no way that she will be wrestling in Women's Wrestling Army and anyone else would have the name Queen attached to them. That is a grave mistake that this promotion has made with thinking that she's going to let that stand. And I love how you had a stipulation with this match, but that was also based on both of them just wanting to be the best. I thought that this was a match that had a stipulation that worked, that it didn't seem, too gimmicky. And you can just see what whenever they were near each other, as they were building up this match, that this was going to be a slugger of a match. They were not going to take it easy on each other at all, because the names that they have earned from themselves meant a lot to both women. So they were not going to easily let that title of queen slip from their fingers. And I must tell you, this match was brutal, but as a fan in a good way, because you saw that they were not going to give up. There were many times where Queen Aminata was just on the attack, and even the fans felt bad for Brooke Valentine. And then you saw on the other end where people were feeling bad for Queen Aminata when Brooke was really laying it in. So it was really hard to tell at times in the match who was going to come out victorious. But Queen Aminata did, and she has the right in women's wrestling army to be the only one that is called queen in that promotion. And that's why I have to say that she is a true queen. And I really think that if you have not seen this match yet, you need to do yourself a favor. It is available on the Women's Wrestling Army's YouTube channel. I cannot recommend this match any more than I have, because there's just such great storytelling. These women are amazing wrestlers that, in my opinion, they could have had like an Iron Woman match with the type of energy, the cardio that they had in this match to keep up with each other and just keep going until someone finally gave up. It was just a brilliantly done match. I'm begging for a rematch. It doesn't even have to be a queen versus queen match, just another reason for them to butt heads again and collide again. I would absolutely love it. And I will be talking more about Women's Wrestling Army, especially this great season 2 that they've been having. I'm definitely going to be talking about that, but I can't speak highly enough for how someone like Queen Aminata, I feel, has been able to really spread her wings and show how good she is because of promotions like Women's Wrestling Army. So just check that match out. Another match that I want to highlight is Queen Aminata versus Roxy, who is now Roxanne Perez in NXT, and they fought in Reality of Wrestling. I thought this was another pivotal time for Queen Aminata because of the fact that, just like Queen Aminata's chance to try to get the Pan African Diaspora Championship, I felt like this opportunity to be in Reality of Wrestling and get a bigger spotlight on her was a game changer, because I'm pretty sure there were much more eyes on her with being on a wrestling company, especially being owned by Booker T. The caliber and the high level of experience and professionalism that you have to be on that roster, and how I feel, and this has even been talked about in 2021 and 2022, Texas has really been showing the great amount of talent that they have and how they're really creating stars in the wrestling business. So usually at this time, they've had some of the best indie promotions, and they've really been making stars and have been able to put on shows that have, I'm quite sure, caught the eye of some of the bigger promotions. So I think that this match was both important to Roxy and Queen Aminata, as it was a great showing of what they could do. So I think it's one that people should check out, because both women just really laid it all on the line in this match. Another one I want to point out, and this is also from Women's Wrestling Army, is Queen Aminata versus Janai Kai. I think that this is just an awesome match because, just like I was saying, when you have someone that has been on the indie scene for a bit and they have had great match after great match after great match, usually it gets to the point that as soon as you see their names on a card, you already know that this is going to be a good match. And I think what having someone like Queen Aminata and someone like Janai Kai, only thing you need to do is see their names announced for that particular episode of Women's Wrestling Army, and you knew that you were going to have a 5-star match. And these women did not disappoint. I loved how the kick demon Janai Kai and Queen Aminata, who's also known for having some vicious kicks, really had this awesome segment in the middle of the match where they were really going head to head to see who had the best kicks, and the fans were really behind it. It was just like the Brooke Valentine match, a very hard-hitting match, very physical, but you already know to expect that with Queen Aminata and Janai Kai, so this was definitely a banger of a match. And the last match that I'm going to talk about from some of the career highlights that I think Queen Aminata had was her match, or feud, I should say, with Heather Monroe in Generation Championship Wrestling. I think that Heather Monroe is, I think, a really underrated talent right now on the indie circuit because she has really great character building skills. She really knows how to get the fans involved with the character, but it really seems like she's just fully immersed in it. Like, I don't when I see her, I don't want to think about where her life is outside of wrestling because I'm so compelled and mesmerized by the character that she has on screen. And I think that both Heather and Queen Aminata really complement each other when they're working together. You're very much into their feud. And I think that Generation Championship Wrestling should also be applauded for a very solid women's division that they have. I think that anyone that holds that Diamond Championship really earned it because there's so many great rising stars that they have in their roster. It's really a promotion to check out because they just really have a dynamic roster there. So I think that if Queen Aminata continues to have feuds with someone that's really good at in-ring psychology and character building, like Heather Monroe, as well as being great in the ring, that she'll continue to add to her catalog of great matches. So happy I was able to go over some things, some feuds, some matches that I think really makes Queen Aminata who she is and has really shown the amount of growth that she's had over the past few years. And these matches just remind me of why I wanted to spotlight her because she can, I feel, can work with anyone and really come out looking great. So if throughout this episode you have never watched anything from Queen Aminata, I really recommend that you do. I think if you feel like you don't really know where to start, I think that you should certainly support and take a look at or even binge a lot of her episodes on YouTube to see how it was performing in certain promotions, what goes into her matches because there's so much prep and so much that goes into what she presents to us as fans that I think is really awesome that she lets us get that insight. She lets us get that insight into the camaraderie that she has with the other competitors on the roster. And I think that's where you should start because you can start to see what feuds you want to see her in and then check out some of those matches on YouTube. I would certainly say check out what she's doing in Women's Wrestling Army because it is awesome. It's great to see that she's getting her footing in Japan as well because right now I think that there's going to be some great collaborations with Japan and American talent that's really going to probably put on some dream matches that people have been wanting to see or they never even knew they wanted to see over the next few years. But yes, that is the end of this Queen Aminata Spotlight episode. We have much more that will be coming down the pipeline for February, but I thought we needed to start off this month right with Queen Aminata. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope that you are enjoying seeing this wealth of content about Black women in wrestling over this next month from many other content creators and just really immersing yourself in these extremely talented women that have given us so many great moments in wrestling and they are continuing to. So stay tuned this month. There's a lot more coming through, and I hope that you enjoyed this episode. Bye.